Break it down.
And so when I hear you say over brand, it sounds like you're saying set the expectations for the customers and set them to whatever you want them to be. Now, there's some people, we'll say like big box retailers that set their brand very differently. So you look at a Walmart versus a Whole Foods, two completely different brands, but you've set the expectations so the customer can't set the expectations themselves.
It's hard to justify paying for something, premium dollars for something that looks cheap. And it's hard to feel good about paying cheap dollars for something that looks great. You almost feel like there's a catch either way. So if you stay at a 5-star hotel and you're paying almost nothing, you go, when's the timeshare tour going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to? And then they say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, now thank you for coming out to the Yada Yada Resort. We're going to do a timeshare tour today. Thank you for being here. And you're like, I knew it. I knew because it was so cheap. They're going to, right? What's the catch? No such thing as a free lunch. You start to, and then on the other side of it, if something is really, really just looks crappy, you're staying in a motel that just looks gross. It feels gross. And then it's like $127. You're like, I'll just stay in my car. Because you can't, either way, your price has to match your brand. And people, if you don't get that right, so many good people are out there. We have so many good people out there all around the world with great products. Good people, great products, great people with second-class branding. It's got to stop.
And so I want to read this notable quotable from one of the Thrive 15 mentors, Michael Levine. Okay, he has this notable quotable, and he's the guy that did PR for Michael Jackson, the Clinton administration, Nike, Pizza Hut, a ton of celebrities.
Not impressed. Name drop something I know.
Okay, here we go. If you give someone a present and you give it to them in a Tiffany box, it's likely that they'll believe that the gift has higher perceived value than if you gave it to them in no box or a box of less prestige. That's not because the receiver of the gift is a fool, but instead because we live in a culture in which we gift wrap everything, our politicians, our corporate heads, our movie and TV stars, and even our toilet paper. Okay, so we're talking about the branding around the product. Okay, it will immediately have a higher perceived value if it's gift wrapped in a box like a Tiffany box. Okay, so Clay, what does Michael really mean by this? What does he mean?
Well, I drew a little picture here, if we can pull it up on the screen, if it's possible to pull that up here. Basically what you have here is, if it's in a Tiffany box over here, this guy, they'll have rings in the Tiffany store that are on sale for $19,000. Then over here at Kmart, when you buy a ring, they put it in a plastic bag, and it's $19, and you assume it's costume jewelry. It's $19, you could take a piece of jewelry out of a Tiffany box and put it in a Kmart bag, and somebody would mistake it for being a $19.99 ring. They think it's $19 because it's at Kmart, it's in a bag. If you took the same ring and put it into a Tiffany box, not that you would want to do this, but other people have. If you want to get a cubic zirconium ring that is definitely not diamond, and you wanted to just put it in a Tiffany box, I bet you with enough conning you could sell it for a huge price. So I'm saying that what you want to do is you want to make sure it's in the box, and then you live up to the branding. This is the branding right here. This is the branding. This is the branding. You want to live up to that branding. You got all this decorative branding going on. You want to live up to it, which makes it worth that much. And so many people just don't do it. They have the poor branding, great product. Great product, poor branding, great branding, poor product. Recently, I worked with a company, awesome branding. Their service sucks, though. It's terrible. Every part of it's like this little lube, like a Jiffy Lube kind of thing, but it's not a Jiffy Lube, but it's kind of like one. And their service is awful. And they have the most beautiful, brand new facility. It's beautiful. People are going, wow, this is great. And it is absolutely 100% garbage service. And people just can't pay the price.
And so as it relates to determining what you can charge, do you have an example from maybe one of your businesses or maybe the DJ company where you were charging one thing and then you made a change in the branding and the perception and the presentation, and then you were immediately able to charge more? Do you have an example from one of the businesses there?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of them, but I would say specifically one that I'm particularly proud of recently is we've done a lot of work with one of our thrivers there, American Hybrid Homes. Mikhailo, he's a thriver out there in New York called American Hybrid Homes, and his website, in my mind, looks very good now. And he was a startup, and his website looks very good. His startup looks actually better. His website looks better than the website of a lot of established brands. And so he is now able to confidently go into the homes of people and make a price quote. Now, he's been doing it for a couple of years, and things are taking off. He's hiring new employees all the time. He literally went from the idea phase, when he heard about us on Bloomberg, I think, to now the growth phase. I mean, it's awesome. But it's a deal where, like, his website now looks like he's been around forever. Where before, when you just have like a folder and a binder you show people and you don't really have a professional website or a website at all, it's very hard for him to get those deals. But now he's getting the deals.
Yeah. So determining what you can charge, branding plays such a huge part in that.
Absolutely.